One of my favorite speed painting methods as of late is sketching my acrylic paint colors over a dark blue paint and primer in one, which will serve as a shadow color for the entire piece. Having this shadow color in place from the start makes the painting so much faster because it eliminates the need for washes and doesn't require complete coverage on any part of the miniature. This is going to be a fast one, so don't blink or you might miss it. Welcome to Treehane Miniatures. Using a dark paint and primer in one as a shadow color for the piece is a little trick that I've been using since my intro to half chop video. No matter what color I choose for the shadow color, I try to make sure that it has a satin finish. I feel that flat primers don't present well as finished colors on a model. If I have any concerns about how the subsequent acrylic paints are going to adhere to the miniature, I will follow up this satin primer with a clear matte varnish before proceeding with my acrylic paints. My current go-to paint for this effect is Rust-Oleum's Midnight Blue Paint and Primer in One. Not only is it a great shadow color, but it's one that I'm confident won't turn sticky on the model. As an optional step for this particular miniature, I'm adding a moonlight glow to the backside of the miniature. This is part of a batch of minis where I overzealously used an airbrush for this step. I've achieved much better results just sketching the azure highlights into place directly over the Midnight Blue primer with a standard brush. Of course, if you don't want a moonlight glow, just skip this step altogether. Continuing with the Vallejo Azure, I sketch it into place to intensify the light blue highlights. Jumping straight to this step and skipping the airbrush altogether would have been a little faster, and it would have resulted in a greater contrast for this effect. That's the way I normally choose to do it, but I tried to get cute here and prep a bunch of models at once with the airbrush. You'll probably continue to hear me mention this in a few more videos. Now we're on to the straightforward sketch style speed painting. I'm beginning with the midtone color. The shadow color is already in place, so I'll apply it in a way that blends into the midnight blue recesses. Normally, I'd begin with an acrylic shadow color if I were painting this over a standard primer color that I didn't want to be visible in the end. That would also mean painting this layer for complete coverage. Choosing a shadow color as your primer saves quite a bit of time by eliminating unnecessary steps. When sketching over smooth surfaces, like what's found over most of this ancient one, the direction that I draw my strokes matters. I like to draw the stroke across a short section of things like muscles, arms, legs, or tentacles, rather than along the length of these features. I feel that this creates a more natural drop-off of color intensity as this color transitions into the shadow color. We're not going to take any further steps to smooth the blend between color layers, as this is speed painting. So being mindful of how the paint is applied in this one step will help immensely with the look of the final product. I continue to use the midtone color and mix it with my chosen highlight color. This layer is applied in the exact same manner as the previous step, but on a smaller scale. I'm painting this highlight within the boundaries of the purple layer. The paint still gets swiped across the shorter width of each attribute, but I'm not as interested in getting smooth coverage now. Some minor striations in the paint application will add a little texture and make it look like there is a subtle shimmer effect to the light interacting with the skin of this creature. This is another benefit of drawing my strokes across the width of each tentacle. Drawing long line highlights along the length of each arm would lose this effect. The final highlight color takes even less time. As the highlights get brighter, they also get smaller and faster. I've been experimenting with using this salmon rose color in place of ice yellow when highlighting red, and I've very much enjoyed the results. It obviously works equally well for this purple, even though I have nothing against using ice yellow for highlighting purple. I find that ice yellow turns red a little too pink for my liking. I think that sketch layering like this is a great way to get your feet wet with layering without the pressure of having to worry about achieving smooth blends. While Salmon Rose makes a great final highlight color for purple, this squid-like creature is screaming for some reflections that make the surface of the skin look shiny. So naturally, I turn to my favorite highlight color of all time, ice yellow, to accomplish this. These are painted in a series of small dots that don't take much time at all. I could say that this step is optional, but for such a small time investment, the results are absolutely worth it. With the bulk of our painting done, we can move on to wrapping up some of the smaller details. We're going back in time a bit to base coat the wings with orange red. I actually base coated the wings immediately after painting the purple over the rest of the body, but I wanted to show the complete painting of the skin before moving on to the rest of the smaller parts of the miniature. Next, I use Orange Pro Acryl as the midtone color. I'm using a very simplistic application of paint for this area as well. Just 3 colors with no color mixing. I'm testing these 3 colors here on this miniature to see if it's something that I want to replicate on another piece that I'm getting ready to paint. For that piece, I want to paint it with a sort of tarantula hawk color scheme, which is basically a black body with orange wings. I think that the combination of these 3 orangish colors will work well for that style of wings. Last for the wings, I add in some ice yellow on the raised surfaces of the wings. I'm working this in more uniformly than I would if this was just a highlight effect. I think that this color choice for the wings works well against the purple that is dominating much of the sculpt. Finally, I paint the eyes and talons. I base coat both the talons and the eyes with a layer of Payne's Gray. I finish up the talons with an edge highlight of Vallejo Azure. And the eyes are finished with a dot of Vallejo Glacier Blue. This ancient one was incredibly simple to paint, but I think that the results are quite nice, and it'll look fine alongside my other Cthulhu Death May Die miniatures on the table. Thank you so much for watching. Please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel because you don't need a license to drive a sandwich.